If you walk to the very edge of this quiet, isolated village, the road simply comes to a dead end, and sitting right at that edge is a decaying, abandoned bungalow. Ask the locals who lives there, and they'll tell you no one has for decades. But every single night, right at midnight, heavy wooden doors creak open on their own, and the distinct sound of footsteps echoes through the empty halls. These midnight disturbances happen with such consistency that they've drawn an invisible line in the dirt. It's a boundary the villagers refuse to cross. That empty bungalow functions as a physical monument to the human fear of the unknown, keeping the village trapped in a cycle of passive superstition. Enter Ravi. He's the kind of guy who demands empirical proof for everything. To him, generational ghost stories are just bad data waiting to be corrected. So he sets up a controlled experiment. He plans to walk right into that bungalow at the exact time of the reported phenomena, midnight, armed with nothing but a single flashlight. While the rest of the community locks their doors, Ravi is proactively walking right into the dark, completely alone. By sunrise, Ravi's data will either collapse a decades-old myth or force him to reconsider his understanding of the physical world. When Ravi breaches the front door, the initial conditions are silent. There are no opening doors, no spirits, just a heavy, suffocating silence that contradicts the villagers' claims. Then the silence breaks. A sudden rhythmic sound, tap, 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 starts echoing from the floor directly above him. His heart rate spikes. The raw instinct to run is battling his investigative curiosity. This cross-section diagram shows there is only one route up. The central staircase forms a perfect bottleneck, making the entire second floor an isolated, inescapable choke point. The moment his foot hits the first wooden step, Ravi's role as a detached observer ends. He is moving toward a direct, high-risk encounter. Ravi reaches the dark upper landing, sweeping his flashlight across the space. The beam catches an antique mirror, but the reflection doesn't match the physical room. The bouncing light reveals a distinct data point, a white, shadowy figure standing inside the reflection. Ravi immediately checks the physical space behind him. The hallway is completely empty. There is no source for the shadow. He turns back to the mirror. The physical room remains empty, but in the reflection, the entity is actively taking a step toward him. Staring at an entity that violates the laws of physics breaks Ravi's rational mind. Survival instinct takes over, triggering a panicked flight from the house. The next morning, Ravi consults the village elders to understand the history of the property he just fled. They reveal a specific piece of historical data. Decades ago, an elderly, fiercely loyal watchman lived on that property, and he used a heavy wooden walking stick to patrol the halls every night. The watchman took his job so seriously that he refused to leave. He stayed at his post until his final breath. Ravi wasn't being hunted. He was simply a trespasser who had walked into the path of a man who never stopped doing his job. Over several decades, the village forgot the man's name and his history. The only thing that remained in the collective memory was the terrifying rhythm of his nightly routine. Ravi chooses to never return to the bungalow. It's a decision born out of deep respect for an unbroken duty. The phenomenon continues. Every full moon night, the tap, tap, tap of that walking stick echoes through the upper floor. Does uncovering the truth kill a local legend, or does it simply ensure the watchman's story will be told forever?